I've got our knife here out of the heat treat oven. I've scraped off the clay. I've tested the edge of the file. It seems to scrape to slide right off pretty well. So I think the heat treat was a success. But there is a very slight warp right here, which has been pretty common for me. It's not a huge deal. We're just going to have to get it out of there. Now, when our blade was warped before heat treat, we just hammered it here. That's not going to work on this. We're going to need to put force on it and heat at the same time. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use this jig here. It's really high tech. It's just a piece of wood, 3 holes drilled in it, and 3 steel rods. We're just going to place it in our vise and use this to put pressure on our warp. Now, you could have used this to get the warp out of the steel for the heat treat as well. That's fine, it's a little more controlled. But before I do that, I'm going to sand the scale off the spine and the blade so that we can monitor the temperature by the color. You want to bend it just past straight. And we're just going to heat it up until we get a light brown straw color. Some people, they've got jigs where they can clamp it like this and put it in their tempering oven. That works too, it's the same principle. But my tempering oven isn't that big. You can temper in your kitchen oven. Just be careful if you have roommates or spouses and you put an oily blade in there, it's going to smell real bad. When the color starts to turn, it's real sudden, so you've got to be careful. And we have success. Back at the drill press, what I'm going to do now that I've got this straightened is I'm going to drill out the tang. Now, we drilled out the pinholes before heat treat because I didn't want to have to worry about running into hardened steel because we have to have these. But I love the tang soft. I didn't harden the tang, but it may have hardened as far as even down this far. Which is fine. Not going to drill above this first pinhole. I want this area to stay strong because this is going to be where the strength of my tang and the strength of my handles come together. Any force is applied, that needs to stay strong. I'm going to drill with this size. I think it's about 11-30 seconds, about 3/8 of an inch. I like good size, and then I'm going to come back with 3/16 and get around and just take off as much material as I can, and that's what's going to give a nice balanced grip. We lost a lot of weight when we ground the bevels, and we're going to add weight when we put the wood scales on, so we want to take as much weight off here as possible, and it's also with the reduced surface area, it's going to make it easier for us to taper the tang after this step. So. So steel, it hardened all the way back here, and even on this one you can see how the bit wandered this way because the steel was hard, but that's okay. I've switched to a 1/4 inch instead of 3/16. Just looking at how these drills are laid out, I just think that there's enough room for a little bit bigger bit. This one here got pretty close to these two holes, and there's not enough room here, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop in the 3/16 inch bit, and well, I'll try. Well, I'm a little bummed that it hardened so far back. I usually like to take a lot more material off up here, but you know what? It'll have to do.